deserve to receive care, whether they're on the streets, whether they're in hospitals, whether they're in schools. And police officers have shown time and time again that they aren't the professional agency to give care to human beings.
We do not respond to mental health calls with mental health care. We respond with guns.
Okay, what happened?
I lost my key.
You lost your key?
Yes. I came and I had somebody fix my car for me, sir. Please, don't, please,
okay,
sir.
Do me a favor. Sit in here. Hey, sit down on your butt and sit with your legs crossed. Sit with your legs crossed. Sit with your legs crossed.
They're gonna try to kill me, please.
Who's trying to kill you?
I had a stunt today.
What?
I had a stunt today, sir.
You had what?
A stunt. Like, no, that's a car.
Okay, what car were you driving?
BMW.
The BMW.
They're trying to put stuff in my car.
Who's trying to put stuff in your car?
They're gonna try to. Please.
Stay down for me. Hey.
Please.
Hey, stay
Please.
here. Stay here.
Sir, I need some water. Can you get some water? Please.
Stay here. I'll get you some water here in a second, okay?
Please.
Just have a seat up against the wall there,
yes,
okay? Have a seat against the wall.
Sir.
Have a seat against the wall here.
Somebody gotta see me, sir.
Have a seat
I don't want
against
to be
the
in the
wall
black.
over here.
I want people to see me.
Sure. Okay, you can sit right there then. If you want to be seen, sit right there.
I don't want to sit right there.
Sit right there if you want to have somebody see you.
Please.
Okay?
Please.
Just sit down for me a second here, okay?
Please, look, sir.
Sit down for me. Sit down.
Put a thing on me.
Sit down. I'm not putting anything. Come here. Sit down over here.
Please.
I don't want you in the road. Come here. I don't want you in the road. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here.
I think that guy's in a very paranoid state.
I'm gonna put driving and he's trying to see my car like the other cars right there.
Was he in the car?
Huh? Yeah, he was in the BMW.
The people who pressed on with that American creed, yes, we can.
Yes, together we will make America better.
We're back! We're back, baby!
After like 6 months.
Yeah, it's not that long. A little bit of time, you know, on vacation, Bahamas and stuff like that, and dealing with fun stuff at work, so. Welcome to the next episode of Unintelligent Intellectuals. We're your hosts, Ebony and Ivory. Today we're gonna...
That makes it sound like, what are those two fat black bitches?
I don't know.
The Trump chicks.
Trump chicks, nah.
Diamond and something or other.
Oh, that's great. I don't know.
You don't remember those two fat black women who were always on like Fox News?
No.
God damn it, man! I hate you.
I'm sorry.
You need to create a social media account.
I'm on the way.
for the sole purpose of just like having a general idea.
Yeah. It's wild because I'll only go on like Facebook,
Diamond
or YouTube.
and Silk.
Diamond and Silk. Okay.
They were just two fat black bitches who talked about how they liked Trump. And then they ended up being on Fox News like every couple of weeks. And then Trump had them on stage a bunch of times.
Oh, okay. Are they like...
No, they're stupid as fuck.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Fox News, reoccurring on Fox News, and your names are Diamond and Silk should...
Yeah.
They found some dark-skinned Republicans.
Yeah. Hopefully we...
They didn't do their research. They were just like, we got one.
Yeah. It's like that one episode in Seinfeld. Or just like, oh, I have black friends. Starts trying to reel them off the street. Get away from me. But Hopefully we'll have them beat, but they might have more subscribers than we do at this point.
One of them died.
Oh, fuck. Which brings us to...
I would assume diabetes or some shit.
Oh, no.
No, when I mean big, they were
Yeah,
like 5'4", 260, like.
Oh wow, it might be bigger.
That way. It's country fed big.
Oh wow, yeah, that's bread.
That's the '90s food table.
Yeah. That might be a gluten issue. So at least we're doing better that way. Neither of us are dead, and on the way to double digit subscribers. So we'll get there. Hopefully, we'll beat them. And repeat as Fox News appearances incoming.
Yeah, whoever wants to have us on.
Yeah. But we're gonna touch on this death of Keenan Anderson. 30-something-year-old.
I didn't even look it up his name.
Yeah,
I just saw the...
I wanted to pretend like I was good with names, so I was like...
Keenan Anderson?
Yeah. So I took the moment to just be like, all right, let me get this guy's name and try to like drill it into my mind, because I know his name's just going to come up. People are like, oh yeah, another one died. The cops killed someone. Oh, it's this guy. Like, oh wait, who is that guy? Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. So I want to be able to know, like, oh, Keenan Anderson. I was like, okay, well... Let's get into that.
From the eyewitnesses.
Yeah. Well, from
and the camera footages.
Yeah.
Or footage, not footages.
Oh, yeah.
Footage
I
is a universal singular and plural word.
Fishes.
Footages.
Yeah.
Fishes.
Fishes. Fish eye.
So I guess he was high on cocaine, got into a car accident, exited his vehicle, and then attempted to carjack another vehicle. Yeah. Was then stopped, and then was kind of lightly jogging around in circles in the vicinity of the area.
Yeah. And then at that point, you flag down the office. The officer like, "Oh, help me! We need help." And then he takes him to the car accident.
Well, no, they actually pointed at him.
Oh, okay.
The people were pointing him out, the officer on the motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
It's like he's trying to run.
Oh, yeah, well, that happened after. I saw, at first he was like, he was running, and then he...
No, that's what they said. They verbally said he's trying to run away.
I saw that afterwards. Like, he flagged down the cop, and then he started running toward the accident. Cop goes to the people, then he starts running away, and then they're like, "Yeah, this is his car."
No, you're right. He kind of passes him, but then he continues to the scene to see what's going on. Then they tell him that he's the one who caused all this.
Yeah. Then he starts running away, and they just like, "Oh, dude!" And they start chasing him down. And you're like,
it's just a bunch of weird interactions of just manic behavior.
Yeah, and the cops is trying to calm him down. He's trying to
saying they're trying
get the information.
They're trying to kill me, or they're trying to get me, or something like that.
Yeah, it's in a bunch of wild stuff, and then but it was just like and we could dive into what he says, but
and then CeeLo.
Yeah. But like the cops trying to calm him down, and then the guy. And I think at this point, like the footage was edited, which is one of the calls that the some people have about. But it was
during the interaction or when they were talking.
No, it was like they were talking after he sat down, and then there was like apparently 7 minutes or so.
5 to 7 minute stop.
Yeah, and then it's like then it picked back up again, and cops pleaded
they're still in the same
area
situation.
Yeah, nothing's
he might have been standing or still sitting or whatever, but...
Yeah, the cop was asking for him to sit down. Oh, he was like, oh, I need water. And he's like, I'll get you some water. And he's like, no, I need it. And the cop's like, come back, please, come back. No, come sit down, please. Come on, sit down. All right. And then he starts chasing him. He runs into traffic, and then the cop gets a little more aggressive, like, yo, this guy's about to cause another accident.
The other police then start getting involved.
Yeah, that's like the other footage. Some of them are at the scene of the accident. One of the people like, this guy looks like he's trying to get away. The cop might need help, and so they come down. They try to help him down. And he's like yelling something. They think
He yells CeeLo a couple times and then yells CeeLo's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
The fuck. I'm assuming he's not talking about CeeLo Green.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he listened to the track and he was just like, oh, that high pitched scream. Like, he's after me.
It was just I think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Oh my god! That would be wild. Oh shit. That would fit. They think I'm crazy. They're actors. But yeah. And then they try to subdue him. He starts resisting. Like 5 or 6 cops. No, probably 4 cops.
3 or 4.
There's a lot of them. They're trying to calm him down. They're trying to subdue him. They're trying to get him on his belly. Trying to put some cuffs on him. He's resisting the whole time. One of the cops tells him, I'm gonna tase you, 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 stop him, I'm gonna tase you, stop him, I'm gonna tase you. He doesn't, so then they start tasing him. They tase him a second time.
Well, no, they deploy the taser.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But the prongs don't go through the hoodie.
Yeah.
And then he goes in for the actual...
the dry tase, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the dry tase, to go in.
Yeah.
Warns them like 4 times or something like that, and then tase him.
Yeah.
And he still doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and then but at first he was compliant. It was like, okay, I'll see.
But it's a compliance with the intent to not comply.
Yeah. Like, I mean, he's compliant. Like, he starts to comply. I mean, when at first he's like, the guy's like, the cop first chased him down. He's like, no, stop, get on. He's like, okay. Hold on. Starts to get up again.
That's you're not really complying.
Yeah.
Because he's too.
I mean, like, he stopped and started to get that, but they didn't roll over. He didn't put his hands behind his back. There's like 3 or 4 people, cops struggling with him, and then he's yelling out some more manic things. The cop's aware of this. He's just like, yeah. He calls for backup, possible DUI, So he's just like, I don't know what's going on. He tried to ascertain the situation. All that happens. I think the firefighters come, and they're just like, explain the situation to them. They say that they can't transport him. Ambulance come. They pick him up, put him in the ambulance, goes to the hospital, and either which is policy after being tased, and either like 45 or 4 hours later he ended up passing away. So yeah, I
thought it was 45 minutes.
It might be. I mean,
it was
4 hours.
Enough time had passed.
Yeah.
That I don't know if the tase is connected.
Yeah.
Because when you read that stuff initially, I was like, oh, this motherfucker got tased and like died at the scene.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Within like 5 minutes.
That's the assumption. And I think most people read that.
Not got arrested, was transported to a hospital, and then like sometime later then passed.
That doesn't make
that doesn't make any sense at all.
That's not a sexy headline. So I mean, why would you say that?
It'd be like so and so got shot in the leg. The wound was secured. The bleeding stopped.
Yeah.
And then he died 3 hours later.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like the connection is outside of my area of expertise.
So he didn't need surgery and it was all bandaged up. Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. But they from what they said it's from health complications. So it might.
I hate shit like that.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. And I think they're still trying to ascertain what the cause of death really was. I think they're doing their
Can't they just say we don't have that available at this moment? Instead of health complications, it's such an open-ended bullshit term.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it can mean anything.
Yeah.
And then it puts doubt in everybody.
Right.
It's like, well, what the fuck happened?
But if they didn't say anything, if they just said like, oh, it hasn't been determined yet, they'll probably think, oh, it's some kind of cover up, and then it'll look so much worse. And then someone's like, actually, it was like some health complication. They're like, due to the what? The taser? That's why they're trying to keep it secret. That's why they're just like, I'm gonna give out as much information that we know, like some kind of health complication. It wasn't a knife in the back. It wasn't a bullet in the head. It was.
Well, I think that it's died down. The reaction.
Maybe, I don't know, man. I've been very surprised with the way that people react to different things, like on the surface, and just like.
Well, I mean, it's like the guy who got shot, I think in like Chicago, who was running around with a knife.
Yeah.
Remember they were like black man shot 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And then everybody kind of was, oh my god, and then like once the video got around,
Yeah.
they were just
yeah,
like, oh, this guy's running around with a knife telling he's going to stab these motherfuckers.
Yeah. They're just
And then the guy shoots it. It's like, oh, well, I guess that might be an okay response.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that would happen with this instance, but because...
I mean, it has, I think, because it's not...
And you
'Cause you
have
know-
way
you-
more of an idea because you're
Because you don't pay
tuned
attention
into...
to any of that
Yeah. I'm just like, I'll research the topic and I was like, okay, I got all out of
Unless
it,
you
know?
find an article that says otherwise, you're just like, oh, I guess that's...
yeah. I don't know, like from the day-to-day thing. You know what? Let me jump on Twitter real fast and see if it's trending or anything like that. That would... I do have a Twitter account somewhere. Figure this out. Trending. Alec Baldwin, Eddie Murray, Messi, Jared Leto, Thursday morning, National Popcorn Day. Nice. Captain Kangaroo. Us. Okay. Doesn't look like it.
Mac Miller.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you got Mac Miller trending for some.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his anniversary of his death.
Yep.
Edgar Allan Poe.
I don't know.
So it's done. It's over. I think.
Yeah. Safe to say. Let's see if I go into these specifically. Oh man, I don't understand what half of these things are. Okay. Yep. Well, yeah. Hopefully it's tapered down, but I don't. The reason why,
You would know.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it's a if
I
if
guess
it,
it would
if
have
it's
popped
some,
up without you telling me if it was still.
Yeah, because it's if once it gets past like 4 or 5 days, if it's still there,
Yeah.
it's gonna maintain itself.
Yeah.
Just like the Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know. I think it's just because the rhetoric that I saw, and maybe it's just me reacting because I'm just getting this information. So I'm just like, holy shit, how did I miss this? Oh my god, look at everybody acting all crazy. And I just haven't seen any other articles or news clips or dialogue that says like anything moderate. But typically, I don't think that really happens, unfortunately. I think it just kind of like fizzles out and nobody talks about it anymore. But no one comes out like, here's an update. Yeah, I think this person's pulling back on this statement. You know, this was a heightened moment. Unfortunate that this person lost their life, blah, blah, blah. But this is how their opinions are. Because that's not really viral. They want that big moment. People are angry. People are scared. People are frustrated. People are curious. Like, right then and there, they'll harp on that. But if it's, like, any updates to that, when it's separate down, they're like, man, I'm not going to touch on it. So, yeah, I'm not aware. But, yeah,
It's just like any news cycle. Once it gets past a couple of days, it's gonna stay.
Yeah.
And maintain itself. And if new information comes out within those first couple days that then put a damper on the fire or whatever you want to call it, then it's gonna fizzle out because enough people. No one's gonna give a shit because most people don't even care.
Yeah,
They're just upset because they saw it.
Right, and that's what frustrates me because people are gonna talk about it like they know about it or like they care about it, and then it's like, oh, you didn't even do the research.
I mean, there are people
to know.
that think that white people don't get killed by police.
Yeah, and that's the frustration I have.
It's like how could you possibly think that there's 150 million of people that look like me and just none of us?
Yeah, it's like, all right, okay.
These are large populations.
It's one Google search. It's at your fingertips. You don't have to go to the library. You don't have to go to hate crime statistics or crime statistics. Like it's one click away. Like you don't have to go to crime statistics. Yeah, you have to go to crime statistics. But you don't have to go to someone who analyzes crime on some kind of nonprofit social policy to understand. Oh, what was the latest analysis in this for the year of? No. It's one Google search away. Like
it's because we're trained to think a particular way.
Yeah. And that's what's frustrating to me because I'm just like, yo, we should do an update to this. We should talk about this thing, and that's why you need to listen to unintelligent intellectuals. Oh yeah, we're gonna dive through some of the stuff that they've said, we'll talk about the stuff that he said.
Who said?
First I'll talk about I have like a list of different things that he said, like the interaction that they had. Because like at first, the first thing is when he was asking the cop to help him. He was like, oh, he asked him to help him.
There's someone trying to kill. Yeah, these are all. I didn't mean to. I thought that was sort of. I feel bad because, like, in the beginning, I was laughing because it looked like a funny episode of Cops.
Yeah, either that or like it's the beginning of like some kind of wild horror movie. It's like, wait, what? It's like,
oh, like Michael Myers is just gonna walk up and just.
Imagine like if you didn't like no visual and you just hear the dialogue of this guy just going like, help me. And then the guy's running, and then
I've seen enough of those videos, so it's just somebody on drugs.
Yeah, it was.
Or having an episode because they're like schizophrenic.
Kind of, yeah. 100%.
It's either a mental health or it's a drug induced thing.
Yeah, and he was saying someone's after the cop leaves the people from the traffic accident to try to chase him down, try to calm the guy down. He's like, someone's trying to kill me, and you're just like, wait, like what's going on? You're trying to ascertain the information, like, hey, just calm down. I need you to sit down, just relax. And then he's just like, then he yells out, I didn't mean to. He's like, all right, okay, just calm down, settle down.
You missed some. He was saying like don't do this and.
I don't.
He was just saying a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I don't know if that happened in the first, like when it's just that one cop on him. Like he I don't think he was.
No, that happened when they were trying to detain him.
Yeah. Oh, you read ahead. I'm a slow reader.
Oh, I was. My bad.
No, you're good, brother. And then but he was.
I was going off memory, not.
Oh yeah. But he was like but he's trying to tell him like, okay, just relax, sit down over there. He's trying to calm him down. Kind of like talking to him, like just really trying to calm him down.
It was. And it was very standard practices.
Yeah. And then he was just like trying to ascertain the information.
You try and just talk to the person, like you were saying, calm them down, and then if things just continue to get to a certain point, you just have to start getting more physical.
Yeah.
And then when they just obviously are not going to comply to anything, you then start using different methods, which is
you have at your disposal in order to
knees,
take control of the situation.
your knees, elbows, and tasers.
Yeah, knees and toes, it's like head, shoulders. No. But yeah, he was like, well, like this beginning scene for me, it was like it just sounded like a horror, like, oh, help me, please, someone's trying to kill me. And then he's just like, the guy's trying to calm him down, like, I didn't mean to. And he's like telling him like, sit down over there. He's like, oh, I don't want to sit down over there. I want to sit down over here. And like, I want to be seen. I'm black. And he's just like, all right, man, sit where you want. I just don't want you on the road. And then he sits down and they're talking. And then he's just like, what happened? He said something like, oh, well, I lost my key and I had someone try to fix it. And then he started going again. He said someone's trying to kill me.
The stunt was when they were talking.
Yeah.
It's like, I was doing a stunt. I had a stunt, and he was like, "You had to do a stunt."
Yeah.
It's like what?
What's happening? What are you talking about? But like that beginning part though, it's like that sounds like help me, someone's trying to kill me. I didn't mean to. I lost the key. Someone's trying to fix it. They're trying to kill me. Boom. Cut off. Like that's the beginning of a horror movie. like that would have been. That's what I was imagining. Like this is.
He's just a fucking idiot who doesn't know how to do his drugs.
Yeah, like
if you get to that point, you don't know how to do your drugs.
Yeah, not everybody.
You have a problem.
I should say like not everybody on cocaine. Like cocaine doesn't have this effect on everybody. Like I don't know what this is.
No, you just do too much and you don't know how to fucking. You're just an idiot.
It's cracked out, yo. That was wild. Yeah. But yeah, he said he had a stunt. I was like, wait, what stunt are you talking about? It's like he said 3-4 other things. I don't know. But the cop wasn't really responding to him. He was just trying to get him to calm down, get him to vent, get the information out.
The George Floyd thing.
Yeah, man, and that was the go-to. It's like, yo, no one put a knee on you. Like they're all just.
We're literally asking you. Can you calm down?
Yeah. They're just like, yo.
I just want you to relax a little bit and stop scaring me.
Yeah.
You're really freaking me out.
You cause one accident over there, like people die in car accidents all the time. I deal with this. I see this all the time. He runs out into the street again. He's just like,
you trying to just carjack somebody.
Yeah, you got to carjack somebody. It's like, oh god, man. But yeah, he said he's like, oh, I drive the BMW. He's like, they're trying to put stuff into the car. He's like, wait, what are you talking about? Then he starts running off. I need water. And then then the cop like starts getting more aggressive. He's just like, so please, like, relax, come back. All right, and then chases him down.
I do like you put the what he said they're trying to sedate me or something like
yeah,
that.
like yo, this guy.
It's kind of funny because it's like you're literally the prime example of someone that needs to be sedated.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, dude, like you were acting crazy, yo. You're putting people at risk, but you know, water's not gonna fix that. But either way, either cop was like, "I'll get you some water. Like, just relax." And he either just didn't believe him or.
Come on, we already about to,
you
trying to rationally do.
I'm just trying to.
He's just fucking high as fuck.
Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to say.
He's high as fuck and he got into an accident.
Yeah.
You realize? So you're dealing with the onset of like a massive collision that results in your car not being able to drive.
Right, and he might have been like, and that might have been what
and you're
shell
fucking
shocked
high as
everything.
shit.
Like, he's already paranoid and like crashing into something. Like he's probably going crazy. He's already like high on the substances, so he just gets an accident.
He's just a
fucking
idiot.
Out.
I don't feel sorry for idiots.
Well.
Like some methed up trucker just like gets shot by the car. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just a fucking idiot.
Put your hands on your head. Starts walking closer and closer, knife in hand.
Just like that, the one guy who hit the cop in the head with a 2x4, and then took like 5 to 6 shots in the chest. But he was on like, he was on meth, so he took every shot and just kept walking.
That's terrifying, dude. It's like, yo.
He took 5 to 6 straight in the chest. That's some Michael Myers shit. And then after the last shot, he just went, I just fell.
But no, I'm just.
He was white.
Yeah. No, I don't believe he was black, man. Cops don't kill him. I like people. You're lying. Fake news.
He also had a business suit on. It was very funny.
Oh God, that's not what I pictured at all.
Well, yeah, he didn't have a tie on, but he had like a white dress shirt and then a black blazer.
Shit. Yep. Well, no, but I'm just trying to say because like I think around this point, this is like when the photo was edited, when like it was that whatever interaction happened between then and there, or like before he asked for water, it was edited. It was about 4 or 5 minute or 5 to 7 minute interaction was cut out, but the guy got up and then he started saying like, oh, he needed water, and then the cop was like, no, I'll get it for you, just sit down, And I don't know if so either he didn't believe him or he was saying he needed water so he could get away. But
he's just saying things.
Yeah, I know.
Why are you rationally trying to think?
You're so angry. No, I'm just like, because the thing is that they're calling for like, oh, like the unedited video. It's like, okay, we could.
You're just gonna have more interaction.
Yeah, and on the whole interaction, like between that, like nothing aggressive happened. Like you don't get the sense that he was more manic. You don't get the sense that the cop was more aggressive between then and there. Like, all you don't know is that he wanted water after that point. So if there's some kind of conspiracy behind why they clipped that part out, it's connected to this guy wanting water for some reason and not believing the cop for some reason and whatever else was said in between. But it's not like there was anything that happened or transpired in between or within that moment that would have led to or looks like or conceptually would lead to the tasing, unless you you follow some kind of wild conspiracy about like this mystery character CeeLo connection to this whole thing. You know, it might be CeeLo's fault. You should have made that song, CeeLo.
Oh Jesus Christ.
But then he stops and like, oh yes sir, like he stops and sits down and says, oh hold on, and starts to run away. The other cops show up and they try to calm him down or like pin him down and arrest him, and then he's just like, oh please help me, they're trying to kill me, they're trying to George Floyd me, they're actors. I'm just like, oh, this is fucking wild, and this it reminds me of something I can't really talk. Where those alarm bells were going off in my head. But, those guys were actors. It's like...
It was just high.
Yeah, it was just... Wow.
Have you never seen anybody high? You know what's going on.
I've seen people high. I've never seen people, like, crack out like that. Like, never, like... Just...
The privileged life you live.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by people who know how to handle their drugs.
No, you just don't hang around with the people that do those type of drugs.
Yeah, maybe. It's not. But shit, man. And yeah, he says they think at first he starts screaming for CeeLo, and then he says they think I killed CeeLo, and then after being tased, he's like, oh, they're trying to sedate me. I know too much. Yeah, that's fine. So, yeah, it was just this crazy, wild interaction. But some of the stuff that they're calling for, his cousin, Patrice Color, right? Yeah.
You would know more.
Yeah. Just
because you
I inundated myself. I inundated myself on the way in, but yeah. So all that jazz happened. So there's a list of things. So the first thing they said, she said that there needs to be a policy on tasers because less lethal doesn't mean non-lethal, and mind you, like taser was considered non-lethal, then they changed it to less lethal because people have died due to complications of tasers because like, oh, this person had a heart problem, heart condition, heart arrhythmia, or whatever happened after the fact, which is the whole reason why the policies changed for, after you're tased, you go to the hospital. So there is a policy on tasing, but I think when she's suggesting a policy, she's suggesting a policy change. Patrice Color.
Is this
one of the co-founders of
his
Black Lives?
aunt or cousin?
Cousin, yeah. So there is a policy on tasing. I guess she's asking for a policy change is really what she's suggesting, but there's nothing to suggest that if they find that his death was linked to the taser, to the being tased, and not due to the complications because of this heightened state of elevation, maybe something else that's going on medical, or maybe the drugs. If it's solely because of the tase or because of a combination of those and the tase was the catalyst, I could understand like, policy change possibility or at least conversation. But the rebuttal to that would be, well, in this situation, he wasn't violent, but he wasn't cooperating, and it took 3-4 cops to calm him down.
Saying that he's not violent is bullshit.
Well, I should say he wasn't.
Because you are violent until proven otherwise.
I don't think that's how that goes. Well, I can see that mindset.
I'm coming up to a scene. You are visibly either having an episode or high as fuck.
Yeah.
You caused an accident. You assaulted somebody and tried to carjack their vehicle. So now all your fucking manic behavior, I'm not supposed to assume that at any point in time you are going to become violent, take my gun and kill me? Get the fuck out of here.
No, I didn't say that.
That's my point, is that
the
behavior that you depict continues to showcase to everybody involved that at any point in time you are violent. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I need to do.
But I think and like I need to calm this person down before the situation gets out of hand. Like,
which they
this
did.
person, right, 100%. Or like the person could become violent, but like in that moment, like, and the
I
cops,
say when they're
cops
just sort of
and
deploying the taser.
Yeah.
He was in a position where he was showcasing that I am not going along with anything that you want me to do, which means at any point in time it's going to turn and one of us could die. So you can go fuck yourself.
I mean, and not just the cops themselves, but like you could create. He already caused one accident, and he was running into traffic, so he could cause a situation.
He's doing way too much.
To life. Yeah. Well, what I mean by
the easiest way to say it. You're doing too much, bro.
100%. But when I mean non-violent, like I mean like before I don't think the cop that was on him and talking to him and chased him down and started pinning him down, and even the one, I think he's the same one who tased him. I don't think that's the same, like he had the information that he tried to carjack the other person. That was one of the other cops that was coming in and who would talk to the guy. And I think, no. I think it was afterwards.
Okay,
or while the guy was
you're doing too much now.
No. What I'm saying is that all you know is like, okay, this guy's in a heightened state, possibly on drugs, in a crazy manic, displaying manic behavior, not cooperating. And as an officer with this guy in this situation, your objective is to calm him down. It's to control the situation. He's not listening to words. Now you have to use the other means. So not that he's explicitly
No.
violent, not that you have to wait for him to execute an act of violence before you act on him. No, just you have to take control of the situation right now. But so I'm the only reason why I say he wasn't violent. He definitely, like you said, had the potential to be violent, and they definitely have to take
Also,
control
just
of the
goes from
situation.
human behavior.
Yeah, and
Like, who in their right mind is in a position where, like, all this shit's going on, and they're like, it's time for me to stand my ground.
yeah.
Like, that alone is going to make everybody go, this person's out of their fucking mind.
Something's off. Yeah.
Because most people go like, "Whoa, what's happening? What's going on?" It's like, "Is everything okay? I need to get to the ground." Oh, Jesus Christ! All right, just kind of. They're not going like, "Hey, man!" Like,
It's like, oh, this is escalated. All right, let me just
why are you trying to? And then like completely turning around and then looking into your eyes.
Don't need water that bad. My bad. Sorry. I'll pass on the water. Take me. Yeah, no, 100%. But I'm just saying specifically on the point that you was making about the whole, less violent, less lethal doesn't mean non-lethal. It's like, yeah, but are you suggesting that they don't use tasers whatsoever, or are you suggesting that they
using?
I want.
I forgot about it.
I forgot about you.
You always are trying to apply logic to people that. Because you're implying. What are you even doing?
No, I want to break down what we're.
You can't break down a statement that is based in falsehood.
Well, I think
none of these people that comment on these things are operating with any type of integrity.
And yeah, exactly. And I think
so
I'm a little.
You're attacking points that they don't even believe in.
I guess there's a fallacy to what I'm doing. Like I'm not doing because I'm really interested in where she's coming from, or that I'm really. I mean, I am interested, but it's not like I'm trying to. Yeah, but it's not.
It's all
like,
falsehood.
I have an impression in my mind, an idea in my mind, and instead of responding to that idea or impression that I have, I'm going to what she said, and I'm analyzing what she said, breaking down like what's the logic or what's the rationale, I should say.
But there's not a rationale because it's a falsehood.
Yeah, so like, and that's what I'm trying to tease out.
Because
like,
if I was black and I stabbed you 3 times and I'm going to stab you a 4th and then someone shoots me, it's the same person is going to talk about how why do we treat black men with no value?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter on the situation.
Yeah, but
the words will be used the same regardless of if the black guy's got 8 firearms with 15,000 rounds of ammunition and is saying, I'm going to kill every fucking person that I come into contact with.
Yeah.
If a cop shoots him, it's still racist.
And I reached a similar conclusion. And the only reason why I'm breaking it down, because I feel like when you talk about, like, I feel like people were talking past each other. Or it's like, she's talking on what she believes, because she's talking under the impression.
It's pushing a narrative, so it has nothing to do with actual realities.
Yeah, but she's portraying the impression that some people ascertain to actually be reality, that all cops out here are trying to kill black people, and this needs to stop, and this is the specific things that need to happen in order to stop it. And the people who are reacting to that are like, you're crazy, you're embezzling money, and then you take advantage of these situations, and now it's reached home somewhat for you. So I could understand you having a little bit more emotional investment in it, but you know that this was, you know what happened, you know the circumstances of why it happened. It's a little fucked up for you to pretend it's anything besides what it actually is.
Which is just a shitty interaction.
Yeah, but I think those things are like, because these people are going to be talking past these people. But instead of that, it's like, all right, she's not going to try to be like, oh, let me understand where you're coming from. So I'm going to be like, all right, let's go over what you're saying and why you're saying it. And for the purposes, because I want her to get to either explain something that I don't know about the situation or the dynamics of, you know, whatever what the situation is. Or she would concede that Oh, I was wrong. Or not her directly, because I don't think she watches them Intelligent Intellectuals. Though that 10 subscribership does have your name on it. Patrice Color. Sorry, keep messing up.
Why do you keep calling her Colors?
It looks like I'm really bad with names. I am not lying to you.
It's French.
French is a stupid language.
Isn't it French?
It might be.
I would assume it's
I don't know.
Or like a, is she Caribbean at all or no?
I don't know. That I don't know. But I stand by that statement. French is stupid. Sorry, French. Those French-speaking people. Fuck you. Anyway, but that's what I'm diving through, because her logic, like she says that there needs to be a policy in place, and I'm like, this is the policy, and so she's like, so I would be like, okay, you know what? Let me read in between the lines here, because you're wrong on the policy thing. Maybe you're talking about policy change. What policy change are you asking for? Because she's not an expert on these interactions, on the SOP of... on these specific interactions and the purpose behind it and how to subdue somebody. And I'm saying the rebuttal to whatever her proposed policy changes on either the moderation or not using tasers at all would be, well, in this specific instance, this guy was nonviolent, and even in that situation, it took 3 or 4 cops in order to just get cuffs on him. What if there was a situation later on where someone is violent and there's only 1 or 2 cops? What if a situation where someone's violent or about to enact violence on somebody else, and the cop doesn't have the physical capacity to be able to subdue the person? Or what if like you were talking about, the guy who was on all of the drugs took 5 shots to the chest? Like, all right. Or like in this instance where the taser was deployed and it didn't connect. So what should the policy be? What is the policy change that she's asking for? Because it's more dangerous for the community, for society in general, and for the cops on the job to ask for a policy change on less lethal weapons. So even though the less lethal doesn't mean non-lethal, I think the logic behind her asking for policy change, which again isn't exactly what she asked for. She said for there to be a policy, but low-hanging fruit. I'll say policy change. Her proposal to do that is on shaky ground. You know, it sucks when someone passes and you're looking for a bad guy, and that's what she's primed to fire that in that direction. But it just the logic behind there doesn't match up with what's overall good for society. So, bad move. Next one. She says, oh no, and then this is a combination. This isn't all her. That last one was, but this one I think it's someone else. It says if we blame the victim and not hold the cops responsible, hold the cops accountable. Can't read what I wrote. Control. It's like, okay, what are you holding the cops accountable to? I think cops should be held accountable, but victims of the arrest should also, because I mean he's not a victim of being discriminated against.
You're just talking about personal accountability.
Yeah, because they're calling. Someone made this line that we need to stop blaming the victim and hold cops accountable. The cops are like, there's an investigation.
The whole point is that the cops react to the situation that is being presented to themselves by the individual.
Right,
so literally, the first person you gotta, unless the cop just comes into the scene and like pulls his gun and pulls the trigger.
Yeah, and see, and in those cases, I can understand holding the person accountable.
But when you have people that are communicating, and then you choose to do every social odd thing you could possibly do to make someone feel uncomfortable in a potential I have to deal with violence way.
Yeah. Then it might be the victim's fault, you know? But even despite that, before this statement was made, there was already an investigation into the matter being conducted. So that's literally as accountable as it gets. The investigators are doing the investigating into the situation in order to verify that everything was done the way that it was supposed to be done. So the cops are being held accountable. So to say like not to blame the victim again is a misleading statement.
Yeah.
And we'll get more into the blame the victim later because that's connected to the whole drugs in the system thing. But I'm not even gonna touch on that yet. First, it's like, and then we'll talk. They say that it's been the cops have time and time and again displayed that they're not a professional agency that care for humans or like
Why don't you read what you put down, like mental health?
Yeah.
They're not trained to deal with that.
Yeah, so they're not a professional agency to care for humans, and then mental health care. The mental health care point was that people were advocating for cops not to be called to these kind of scenes. They wanted to call for mental health care professionals to respond to these kind of situations. So I want to play a game. Let's play the scenario, and this is a mental health professional that comes out to the scene. What's the mental health professional gonna do if the guy tries to carjack somebody else? I don't think that person has any more authority than any other person does, and I don't think people have a weird impression of mental health professionals like they somehow have these superpowers to stop people from doing the things that they want to do. That's not the case. Like you could offer treatment, which is something that could be offered at the hospital, but you know what? If you want them to respond to this situation, let's deal with this. Let's deal with the scenario.
I'm just seeing how much more you got.
No, this was the that's it. This is all the stuff to touch on.
Okay.
This is the stuff that he's talked about, and this is the Emancipation movie.
Okay.
But when it comes to the mental health responder, it's like he can't really do anything about the person carjacking. I mean, and imagine if that person had a weapon. It's like, okay, well, you wouldn't be able to stop that person, and that person could have gotten away, could have gotten into another accident, could have caused another.
Well, you know what's going to happen is the mental health professionals will eventually, after a couple of years, just become armed, and then they'll just be another extension of law enforcement.
Right, and then the same kind of scrutiny that law enforcement is going under will come under the mental health professionals, who have less ability to respond to these kind of situations.
It's not going to change.
And the city, county, and state, like the mental health professionals are already under so much. Like there's already more cases for them to manage. There's more mental health issues and people with mental health complications and issues than there are mental health professionals in any given vicinity to even address them. So to ask for more, it's like, okay, you're gonna expand the budget in that direction. But that's going to fundamentally change the way that money's allocated. Maybe that's what they're asking for. But again, what would you do in a violent situation? What if he's trying to carjack somebody? What would you do if he runs out in traffic? Say you couldn't stop him. You say you try to talk him down. He didn't listen. What would they do differently than what the cop has said that the cop didn't know how to do? They're trained in de-escalation, and like sometimes they don't do the best job. I can't say that this cop didn't try to de-escalate. I can't criticize anything that this guy has done that I think is flawed or could even be improved upon. But maybe I'm wrong. Leave some comments down in the downstairs, down in the comment section. But yeah, and then even if like let's say the mental health professional was there, maybe he was able to do something more or say something more and calm the guy down. What if the case that he doesn't? What if in the case that the guy runs off for the water out into traffic and gets hit by a car? Are we now going to hold that mental health professional accountable for that action? It's like, or we're going to blame the cops for not showing up to be able to control the situation or stop them from, you're equipped with all this, we pay you this, how come we couldn't have stopped that from happening? Like, I don't get the logic behind them saying that they don't care for humans and this is a mental health care in this specific instance. There are cases where it's like you can showcase, oh wow, or you can come to the conclusion, wow, these specific officers obviously don't care about human life or the mental health of this specific person. All right, but this is not one of them. Even some of those cases, it's like, oh, they're responding to the threat, not the mental health thing. But it's not clear in this case what else could have been done in that scenario.
It seemed like it was handled appropriately.
Yeah.
Or the best that it could under the circumstances.
Right. And so, but the next thing that they're all calling for is for the chief to be outed. Or not outed.
Outed, like they're closeted.
They're calling, you know what? That chief out there is gay. You want to know what he is? Might clip that out. That might be right. Oh, man. They wanted the ousted. They wanted him to step down or to be fired. Which, again, like...
I told you, that's already died out and it's done.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm just responding to it as if it didn't, because...
But this is old news.
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
it's like a week old.
That's who we are. We are old news. We're old news guys. We're the establishment guys. That's what we do. But asking for the chief. The chief didn't do anything incorrect. He didn't try to cover anything up. He wasn't there in the incident itself. Though he has to be accountable for his officers. I don't think his officers did anything wrong again. So
at least that we know of.
Yeah, that we know of. Thus the investigation that's being done, the autopsy that's being performed, will yield the results, and we could run to the conclusions. But when that time comes, I want to touch back on these points, or at least that chief ousting point, because again, that one doesn't seem logical. It seems like another peg to be like, oh, well, these are our demands, and like, the more stuff you have, the more legitimate your grievances seem. But that grievance doesn't seem.
Well, because it's a line that's always just getting pushed.
Yeah. It's an easy fix. It's an easy thing to demand. Like, oh, something fucked up happened. Let me get the job of that head guy.
Job of that head guy.
Oh, no. Is that a joke? Oh, man. But, and then, okay, you know what? This is.
I was going to say, we could go on to the next subject.
You take it to like, oh, I'm done.
Because we've spent like an hour on this.
We did. But yeah, we talked about the unedited footage. Asking.
I think you went through a lot.
Yeah, we did. I mean, I'm almost done. I promise. A wee bit more. So he didn't ask or beg, pleaded for help. No, nah.
I was gonna say we've done all that.
Yeah. No, but so there's a little bit of this is the last point, and this is all looped together, where the whole blaming the victim thing. They're calling on them to release the unedited footage.
Okay.
And that like they need to stop with the character assassination and release this unedited footage. Which again, it's like I don't think the unedited footage is gonna reveal anything that the edited footage didn't already. But okay, fair claim. Okay. You think some weird conspiracies happened in those 5-7 minutes? All right, we'll go for that. Or maybe there's some other edit that I didn't notice, but yeah, we'll see about that. Because I mean, they have footage from different cops from different angles. It's like and all pieced together. It would be masterfully done if you were able to edit something and for it to skip where nobody was able to notice. Besides those 5-7 minutes with that one guy who was trying to calm him down.
Yeah.
But they're asking for the unedited footage, but they're also angry that they released the toxicology report on him having cocaine and weed in his system. And I'm just like, what?
With weed, I don't.
Yeah.
That's not gonna do anything.
Yeah. It should be the opposite. That's probably what.
Should have smoked more weed.
Yeah. His balance was off. That was what. I blame CeeLo again. But it's a double standard to be like, oh, you need to release all your information unedited, and leave it there for us to analyze. But then to say, oh, you can't give us that piece of information about what was in the system. That was wrong. That's wrong of you. It's like, wait, either you want all the information or like or you want selective information. And you could say like, again, there's plenty of other cases where you could be like, oh, this footage was edited like, oh, it skipped the part where this guy was planting drugs in his vehicle. There's plenty of instances where that could be pointed to, but or claimed at least. This is not one of them, and to say that you didn't want them to release the information about him having drugs in the system, that means
that brings a different element into it.
Yeah, that means you're asking for only evidence that might serve in your favor, as opposed to
helping everybody understand what was going on.
Yeah. So again, it's like
or
another.
to explain what was happening.
Yeah. So you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. All right, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm done until it comes back again, if it does.
Neil Degrasse.
Yes, jump on Neil Degrasse Tyson. Again.
We could do a documentary, The Rise and Fall of Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I mean, I think it was like I watched the whole thing. It was we're referring to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I only watched. I think I watched one other segment, and then obviously the segment about the COVID. So I haven't seen the whole.
No worries.
I'm assuming it wasn't bad.
It was very, very well. I mean,
except
for
that.
Very good.
Except for the COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was cool because, Patrick Bet-David likes getting into back and forth, even with people that he likes, just to push them into interesting
he plays some
conversation.
devil advocate stuff, but he's not aggressive where it makes the conversation go sideways.
Yeah, like he just had one with Prager.
I saw that he was on it, but I haven't seen it.
Like at the end, he starts getting to a little back and forth with him, but not like again, like you said, not
he's
not
challenging
aggressive.
him.
Yeah, but no, but before that, he would like when he's interviewing them, he's asking questions, and Prager just stops and is just like, he's like, he's like, you get it. He's like, I love talking to you because you don't. He's like, when you're asking questions, like you're really asking these questions, like you're really seeking to understand
his particular point of view on the topic.
Yeah.
Not asking it to see if he either agrees or is going
push
to
him
attack.
one way or another. Yeah, exactly. Because he's like, that's what he just said. Frager said, that's what most people do. Even like these professional reporters and do that. Like that's what most of them do. He's like, but you're not like that. You really want to understand the heart of the issue, and then it's like, and that's just great. It's like that superpower right then and there is great. And they even after the little slight back and forth, it's like, oh, it's great. And there's times when I think recently, and I haven't seen it, but I just hear them always talk about it. I'm just not interested. But he had gotten into a back and forth with Antonio Brown, and I think that's his name. I'm pretending to be good with names, but let's pretend like I'm right. He's getting back and forth with this football player or ex-football player, and the football player is getting aggressive with him, and Patrick like just asked him like calm down.
Who was
like,
this?
I think Antonio Brown. Damn it.
Oh, the psycho. That piece of shit.
Uh-oh.
You didn't hear about him?
You probably described him correctly. Is that the guy who walked off the field? Is that the same guy? Okay.
But you didn't hear about what happened to him in Saudi?
No, what
He
happened?
sexually and physically assaulted a woman and he was completely naked and was in a public pool in the middle of the day jerking himself off and actually elevated his groin so his whole dick was out, and he was just jerking himself off in front of kids and families.
Oh.
Fuck him. I hope he catches a round in the head.
In Saudi Arabia,
No,
might be a sword.
no, he's fine. They're cool with it.
Fucking
Dude,
wow.
he's got money.
Fucking wow.
Fucking piece of shit. I hope a fucking truck kills him.
What the fuck?
Either that or he's just got severe PTSD, and then I might not feel bad for him.
That's when you call them a mental health professional. So stop. Maybe they had words of wisdom or encouragement in order to sway him to do something other than that. He'd be like, oh.
Like if he was just hyper aggressive, you know what I mean, like prone to violence, getting into fights, then I would feel bad for him.
Yeah.
But he's just wildly getting naked.
Yeah, that's
like he was like messing with some woman, and then she was kind of being playful with it, but then he like picked her up while in the pool and like choke slammed her into the water, and then I think he tried to like put his dick into her face, and then she swam away, and I think he called her a bitch or a cunt, and then he
Fuck.
elevated himself like by the edge, and he had a huge dick, and then he was just
It was like,
well, no, because it was blurred out, but
Yeah,
even
but
then
the
it was
blur
like,
was just like-
yeah. And then he just got out and then started jerking off, and he was just laughing, and his friends were laughing and everything like that. But that was months ago.
That's wild. That's wild.
So fuck him.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I'd react to that way if my friends were jerking off in a pool after. I don't have interesting friends, I guess.
It was a hotel pool. It was an indoor hotel pool at like 2:00 in the afternoon or something.
Oh god.
So it wasn't even like it was like, oh hey, things get wild past midnight.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Oh, we were just in the jacuzzi and things got carried away. Me and my friends saw my dick.
He was pretty drunk, a little high. Like it was like the middle of the afternoon.
Oh man. Well, that guy. Okay, got his name. Right? That's cool. Patrick bet Dave talked to that guy, but they were going back and forth. But even after that, like Patrick was like, oh yeah, like yeah, even that, like that was entertaining. Oh yeah, that might have been this, it might have been that. We had that exchange that was unpleasant. Wasn't a fan, but you know what? After that, things kind of calmed down after that, and we had a pleasant conversation. I was like, oh, all right, cool, and he really strikes me as someone who with really measured response.
Patrick Bet David.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not the guy jerking off in front of kids. Patrick Bet David's measured response. It strikes me as someone who has measured responses to different things, even adversity. But that being said, so Neil deGrasse Tyson's on there. They're talking about a whole litany of things, a lot of very interesting things. Neil deGrasse Tyson had a unique take on education. He was critiquing it, but then he was I think it's cool because I think he's very aware.
What type of education?
In general, K through 12, public schooling,
Okay.
and he was saying how
Not college or
no specifically K through 12.
Okay.
But he was saying how it's
standard education.
Yeah, he was saying how it's flawed, and he was saying how as successful as he is, and some other people are, or the people kids have the potential to be, that system isn't in place in a way to cultivate those kind of individuals that will be able
control.
to. Yeah, and that's what they were having, that kind of conversation. He's like, it's not set up in a way to cultivate that kind of curiosity and growth and exploiting that. I guess exploiting is the wrong word, but expanding upon that potential to yield a better anything. And then Patrick was like asking specifically about what would you critique it, and he's like, I'm in the midst of it. I'm actually gonna write a book on it. But he's kind of talking about like different vectors to measure, not just the test scores. He said like he himself was not like a great student. He was a decent student, but nobody would have looked second way taken a second glance at him. But he's like, your ability to get back up after being knocked down, your ability to what you're curious in, your ability to talk to other people, your social skills, how you perform in the on grades, but he's throwing things out there, but he himself, like, he preempted it with, I'm not really sure. I'm writing a book on it. I have this idea. This is where I'm at. And it was cool to see that interaction. And mostly it was great. They talked about his credentials, talked about different things, talked about a little bit of astrophysics, talked a little bit about relationships. So it was all great. But I think, and I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a person that I admire. But I think he has this dogmatic...
But that was
following.
just odd.
Yeah. He has like this dogmatic belief in science in every capacity. And because of his dogmatic belief in science, I think he's wary of anybody. If he interprets what somebody says as an attack on Fauci, aka science, he gets defensive. And I think that's what happened. So not Fauci, but yeah, because what was the interaction? I'm trying to remember because I hadn't watched it recently, but
I have
can
a pretty good memory of it. So where do you want me to start with it?
just from like what was his point? Because I think he was.
So
I think he
the
was
initial
defensive,
start.
but-
The initial start was he was defending data,
Mhm.
and he had the hand flying about systems.
Yeah.
The system that is in place that does the testing for vaccines and everything like that, and he was saying, like the system approved it, so that's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, he believes in science so much, so he's just like, well, this was.
But he
scientific
doesn't
pro-
believe in science.
Well,
Actually, let me rephrase that because that sounds really stupid. The system that is in place is a system that it's a 3 to 4 years case study.
Yeah, and I think
And we fast tracked it in like 6 months or I think it was 8 months.
and
I think 6 months was too soon. I think it was 8 months.
Okay, but but even with that, I think he took it as
You mean trusting the institution of what science is?
right. Institutionalized science, like science in every capacity, institutionalized or other. They were even before that. They had a conversation about politics, and he was like, He's like, I think it was politics or debates. And he's like, I don't talk about. They touched on both, but he's like, I don't get into those conversations. He's like, you believe what you believe, and he's talked about the different truths, and one of them is political truth. But he's just like, in debate is just who's a better communicator. Sometimes it's not even who has the better
topic.
facts.
Yeah.
But he's like, scientific debate is different because when people have a scientific debate, we go in either knowing that there's one of two outcomes: either I'm wrong or they're wrong. And after we go through the evidence,
He was wrong.
Yeah, and it was
But he was using that to say that he was right.
Yeah, and I think that because he looks at that as he's like, well, that's how scientists have debates. So he not in a, I guess in a hierarchical sense, he elevates scientific conversations as better than every other conversation.
But he's
about
ignoring all the
perspectives.
science that backs up what everyone else was saying.
But I don't think that he perceives that as science. Funny enough, I think he perceives that as a political attack on science. So I think that's what triggered his defensive-ness. He was just like, oh no, these are the talking points. I've heard these before, because he was responding to.
Because
he was talking past him.
Patrick talked about that there was the doctors that signed that petition.
Mm-hmm.
Being against the COVID procedures of the vaccine and all that shit. Yeah. That's recent. Okay. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he immediately just brushed that aside and then started talking about. That's when he did the arm flailing and talking about the system.
Yeah.
So he's ignoring all of the actual professionals who are saying, let's pump the brakes on this, or we don't agree with this, and then he's just going to the system, which is a system that is based around bureaucracy. It's not even based around science.
And that's the issue. And I think because of that, I think he's ill-equipped to have
We're
the
like
conversation.
independent medical boards.
It
was government institutions.
And I think because he doesn't. Maybe if he was talking to one of those scientists about specifically the efficacy of instituting the vaccine or expediting the approval of the vaccine, then he might have revered that conversation.
I don't know. I feel like he went down the
tact.
ideological breaking rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I think the ideological rabbit hole was he interpreted the what Patrick Bet David is like. Well, this is not a scientific debate. This is or this person is talking from a perspective that's not scientific, and I'm going to slam him down with the science wins. And I think the premise of, I think that structure is fundamentally flawed because science is, because what he said isn't true. It's not one person's right, the other person's wrong. When you're talking about a specific thing in science, it's with the information that we have
what
available.
He was talking about social contracts. There's no social contract.
Yeah, he said it's
and even
like,
then, it doesn't make any sense.
He talked about it like
because you're
de
getting
facto
vaccinated
law.
so that you don't.
Well,
so that you don't die, but then
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
knows that you don't die if you get it anyway.
Yeah. And I think
no one dies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like the way he was
the
proposing.
percentageal chance of somebody dying of contracting COVID is insignificant and meaningless.
Yeah.
No one dies from COVID.
Well, I think the way
80% of people that get it don't even show symptoms, so it's a non-worrisome disease that we just overreacted to.
Yeah, and I think that the reason was because of how infectious it was, and because we didn't have a response to it, and we're just like, oh shit, things are happening. And
But he was saying like you can either die or you could get it. He was conflating.
Yeah, he
things,
was. Yeah, and I think and
which
I
has
think the
nothing to
reason
do
why-
with science.
Yeah, I think the reason why he presented it that way is because he was trying to present it from, well, this is what the science says. The science says that.
But the science didn't say that.
No. But he's saying that
Politics
the science
said that.
No. Not about the COVID leading to death, but science said that the vaccine protects you against death. So, as a scientist who trusts that information, either you're gonna give people this thing that's gonna stop death,
But
or
even
you're not.
well, he was talking about not forced vaccination.
They were talking past each
They were
other.
saying that it would be okay to fire somebody from a job who didn't want to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
But the whole point of getting vaccinated is that you don't die from it.
Yeah.
And that it lessens the symptoms. So why would it matter if you're around somebody who isn't vaccinated?
No, you're right, and that's why
Because you could still pass it to them.
Yeah.
just
and that's why I think
make
it's
notes
important to
and-
distinguish what a scientific debate really is. It's not one person's right and one person's wrong, end of story. It's
they can be.
They can be, and that's how they usually end. But that's not what happens. What happens is that two scientists debate on two opposite points on an issue, and this is the key right here, which he didn't mention, and I know he knows, or I would assume that he knows, based off of the information that they have available, because the
That's
Earth.
what he was saying.
Yeah, but he didn't say based off the information that they have available. But like,
He did. No, he did.
No. Not when it came to the purpose behind scientific debates. He was trying to distinguish when they were trying to distinguish.
No, but he was using that as to why, as defending his argument.
Yeah, but I think
Which is more or less the same thing.
But if he's doing that, then like let me take it back. Like at one point he was talking about they were distinguishing.
He used that
one
at
debate.
least 2 or 3 times. Those words.
Yeah, and those words specifically when it came to the COVID thing, and the reason why I want to go back a little bit is because in application to be consistent, like for example, what we were talking about before with the whole with the death of like, oh wait, and creating a policy. It's like, well, there is a policy. So when he's trying to distinguish the political debate from the scientific debate, he's like, one person's right and one person's wrong. Mm-hmm. And then when he goes into talking about the defending the scientific perspective of why they're doing what they're doing, he's looking at it like, well, let me explain this information to you. And he's like, oh, this is based off the information that we have. Like he uses those terms. He's using it without acknowledging the other side of the scientific debate, which is, well, based off the information, I don't think there's enough, or based off this information, I think that we should move forward. Mm-hmm. And one person's right, one person's wrong. And instead of conceding to his point that, oh, there's a possibility that we were wrong, and now we know that we're wrong on these things.
He's just doubling down.
Exactly. And so I think that's why it's important for him to dissect that, because I don't think he himself understands the biasness that he has or the dogmatic belief in defending science or the defensiveness that he was displaying in that moment, because he wasn't interpreting or respecting that as a...
He wasn't defending science. He was defending systems. Government agencies. It was very weird.
Yeah, well, it's different because like Patrick...
He's taking like a statist view.
Well, Patrick was talking about, and that's what I mean, they're talking past each other. Patrick was talking about this specific thing in terms of what the state, how the institutions reacted to this situation. And Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't equipped to have that conversation, and he interpreted that as an attack on science, so he proceeded to defend science. So they're talking about different things. Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, this is why people in the scientific community made the decisions that they made, and Patrick's like, well, this is why I disagree with the political decisions surrounding the conclusions that the scientific community came with. So they're just like, it sounds like they're talking about the same thing, but they're talking past each other. So I don't think it's and I think Patrick was aware of it, or I assume he was. I don't think Neil was aware of it because he didn't interpret it the right way. Is my belief, my take on it.
I think he interpreted it correctly.
I don't know. Because he's defending
The words that he was saying were insane.
Because I think he was afraid that what Patrick was talking about was anti.
He just comes
vaccine.
across as somebody who's part of the New World Order.
Yeah, and I can understand that. That's how he perceived based off
He
the
wants
things that
to
he said.
still be invited to parties.
No, I think it's more than that. I think he
No,
really
I'm kidding.
believed
I don't think he...
Well, like I know some people like really believe in that.
That's just
like,
what he was coming across as.
Yeah,
As someone who doesn't want to, bother the powers that be.
Yeah, I think he's less concerned about the powers that be and more concerned with the way that people revering the scientific community. And I think he reveres, and he prefaced this whole thing with, I'm not the professional, or like, I don't really know, I'm not a good person to talk to about these things, but here's my really strong held beliefs, and this is why you're fundamentally wrong, and I'm going to portray your position like it's stupid. As opposed to conceding to, I understand what you're saying, you know what, when it comes to the political decision to do that, that's outside of my depth, but I could tell you from this perspective, they made this decision based off of these things, with the information that we had at that moment. And instead of like humbling the scientific community by saying that, well, we only had this information and we wanted to act on this information, and this is the superpower that we had at our disposal. So we did everything that we could from the scientific community standpoint to move forward and give the public what they needed for the safety of as many people as possible. What happened politically is outside of my depth. You could agree or disagree, but when it comes to the vaccine in and of itself, it's good, and this is why it's good. And we don't know what the long-term effects are, but this is the pluses and minuses. Deal with this immediate benefit for this immediate problem, and deal with the fallout later.
It's insane.
But, yeah, it was. It wasn't a good.
Still.
He wasn't a measured response.
Well, because he could. That's always a good. This is a. Like, I just don't understand why people because you can make the arguments for why everything was done while still understanding and valuing the reservations and questions that other people have about it.
Right. And I think...
But there's this, road or mind block where it's just, I cannot bend at this at anywhere.
Yeah, and that's an emotional response.
It's just like
to
with the voting shit that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, all you literally had to do is be like, there is always going to be issues with voting.
Yeah.
We're going to do our due diligence, and we're going to look into this. As of right now, it looks like Biden is going to win.
Yeah.
But, the due process will take its course.
Yeah.
And we'll figure this out. Instead of it was just like, well, if you think
zero, none at all.
If you think there's any miscarriage of justice, well, you're just an idiot.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why does that precinct have luggage cases filled with ballots?
Yeah.
Now it's only one.
Yeah.
And who knows what the hell that even is or what came out of it? But I did see something.
And to that point, I think it was in I think it was the Lord of War. I think this came out of. Shout outs to
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Shout outs to Nicolas Cage and the real guy. What's his face? Thanks, Brittany Griner. It's like, no, not fair. Go ahead, WNBA. Okay. No, okay, we're diverging too much. But the point.
Did I show you a video about the WNBA or no?
No.
Okay.
But first
I'll go to that. Yeah.
But for the point, and I think it was Lord of the War. You don't have to prove that you're right. You just have to showcase that the other side is wrong. You just have to do that once, and now everything gets thrown into question. So don't put yourself in a position to be proven wrong. And that's why the political game is so nasty when it comes to voting, when it comes to this vaccine. And I think that superpower that you're talking about, just calm and rational, being able to respect the other person's
understanding
viewpoint
that there
and-
may be legitimate questions or
Yeah.
reservations to something, and
Yeah.
acknowledge those, and then lay out why you think this is the way it should be.
Right. And it's not that I think, even though Patrick Bet-David may share more, I may align politically more with Patrick Bet-David than Neil deGrasse Tyson, I still love and respect both guys and their as well as their reputations, their successes, their accomplishments. But I think that because in the interaction, the reason why I think Patrick was able to or understood that they were talking past each other is because he kept trying to restructure the conversation, like talking about or asking different questions to get to where he was going or what he's to get Neil to kind of respond directly to what he was saying,
Right.
and because he noticed that Neil kept talking past him, and I think Neil was being defensive because the way that he was responding, like heightened, emotional, just like duh kind of things. Was like he was talking
weird because
it was like he was talking to a child at that moment of the conversation. Like
But it
everything was
wasn't
like
a
to
normal
adults.
interview that I'm used to seeing him do.
I've seen him act that way, but it's like when he's talking down to somebody, and I don't think it's like he means it to demean them. I think he means it like he really
But
like he's bleeding out that
but
he's just like,
normally-
you're an idiot.
But normally it's in more reasonable. Like he's never done it in a way where it was just so glaringly missing the point.
It just it reminded
Like he's
me.
done it when he's like, I don't know, making fun of flat earthers.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's like,
yeah.
okay, well that doesn't make any sense, and it's a universal truth and belief that that's a stupid opinion.
Yeah, and I think
It usually doesn't take like you wouldn't see him act that way if he was talking about like abortion.
Yeah. And he would be like, all right, I don't know, like, he won't touch that. But I think it's, with this issue, it almost reminds me of, he got, like, this is a unique conversation, a unique issue, unique circumstance with a unique person.
Yeah.
So I think all those things in combination, that's why you were able to see that side. Yeah, exactly. You saw that side of him that you might have seen hints of before in these instances, and you're like, duh.
He became Bill Nye.
It reminded me of that one science guy.
No, I was gonna say Bill Nye. He ain't the science guy.
Oh no.
He's an engineer.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Remember? You didn't know that?
No, I remember that he wasn't a
He's not a scientist.
Yeah.
He has no degree in.
But I didn't know he was
science.
an engineer.
I believe he's an engineer.
But it just reminded me of that one conversation with Daryl Young, whom I also respect immensely. With what's the guy with who always wears the Scully cap? He had that
Tim Pool.
And is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But he had that conversation with Tim Pool, and then it was just like, oh, this looks really bad. Like, why is Daryl Young on Daryl Young? You remember the?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where it's just like you're just like, what the fuck, man? And it kind of reminds me of this, like in a small sliver. Like I don't think it's as bad as that, but it was like I've heard Daryl Young speak so many times. I've seen him.
It was it was a different.
Yeah, because it's like a perfect storm. Somebody who was able to like talk about this thing from opposite political standpoint in a way that was triggering to Daryl, and Daryl responded to that with and clearly out of his depth, and instead of yielding to and being humbled by, okay, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, this is where I see things from my perspective. I grew up in a different generation. He like constantly tried to railroad and like try to prove the other side as like moronic, which just in turn made him look like ridiculous. So I think that's the same thing, the perfect storm that happened in this case with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Patrick Bet-David. So yes, that's my take on the situation.
I would agree.
Yeah. Doctor.
Doctor.
Well, yeah. Anything else? Oh, what were we gonna say about the WNBA? You said the video.
Oh, so because recently, or maybe within the last month or so, they came out and they said that they want to have the same percentage cut of profit sharing.
Oh, I saw that.
With the men's.
Oh, yeah.
And then
you did show me that. Yeah.
And then someone broke it down,
Yeah,
and it
it was a short.
determined that they would each player would have to owe the league $83,000.
Yeah, that's the market share that you're owed.
Would be you owing the league more than what your salary is.
Yeah, you're operating at a loss. It's like, oh. Oh yeah, that was rough. That was like, oof. Yeah.
I want to know what goes through their heads.
I wonder are they the ones advocating for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least loud ones.
Mm.
I mean, I am positive there are people in the WNBA that are just like,
nobody
watches our sport. I want to play basketball. I'm young.
Yeah.
I can make some money for it. Maybe I can get some low-key endorsement deals or local TV ads, and I'm going to do this for a few years, and then I'll get a regular job.
I could see, because...
Or coach. I'm going to try and coach.
To
play a few years in the
elevate to the next
WNBA,
level.
and then I'll coach high school, and then maybe eventually coach college.
Yeah.
And that'll be my career.
Yeah. Or I want to garner more...
I'm assuming
attention towards-
it's not like all of them are just completely oblivious to how economics works.
Yeah. But at the same time, probably some sprinkled in there that don't know. And so it's like, okay, that's what I was going to say. It's like, it's not like everybody's... Because when I think about the NBA, it's like there's some people in there who don't know a lot of things and about economics and what they're owed, or what they're worth versus what they feel like they're owed.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that there's some people in NBA, and like you see, like when people leave the NBA and then they lose all their money, and you're just like, damn, like you made a whole lot of money every year. Like you're on TV, and like, man, you could have started anything, you would have been successful, or you would have at least had the eyeballs or the attention to be able to have enough people interested in order to take a chance on whatever product or service you provided. But even with all that and all that money, you still just...
You could have just lived off interest.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But that happens so much. It's such a small minority of NBA players who have a way bigger salary than those in WNBA who are successful.
They all do.
Yeah. You mean
there's nobody in the NBA that makes what the women are making.
Fair enough. But no, I mean...
Their minimum contract deals are like $500K or something like that.
Damn. But I'm saying there's
unless you're getting the 10-day contracts or like guys that are just in and out.
Yeah. But I'm saying there's such a small percentage of NBA players who are successful after their NBA career. So
there's probably more than you think.
Yeah, I would. To be fair, I don't follow it that well.
There's probably a decent amount of guys who, they're in the league for 3 or 4 years. They made $3 million,
and they just get out because they're just like, this isn't exactly.
Yeah, they're like,
as fun as this was.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know how long I'm gonna be in the league. They're not spending recklessly.
Yeah.
So then they've got, they've got like 1.2 million in the bank.
Yeah,
and then they get a job making 60, 70K, and then...
You know what? You're right. You're right. That is a possibility. It's just those people don't get the attention.
And then
I don't follow it that
Then you're going to have to
much,
think of the work ethic it takes to get to the league.
Yeah.
All they have to do is remotely apply that to any job or field they're in.
Yeah.
And now, they might not be making...
as much or as successful, but...
$400K a year.
Yeah.
But they're probably making reasonable livings and have a good retirement.
You're right. It's not everybody who wants to be a star forever and ever. So, yeah, that's a good point. But I'm just saying, I could understand. I see a lot of people kind of fizzle out. Or I've heard of stories of people fizzling out afterward, not mismanagement of money.
It's probably more common for what you're talking about, people that where they lose a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas there's probably more guys that you don't know that actually do not flounder and flop.
Yeah. You might be right about that. I hope you're right about that.
Well, because they're living more desperation.
Yeah.
I got drafted middle of the second round. I'm fighting to keep my spot in the league, and I'm out in 4 years. Oh, I'm going to play in Europe for another 5. And now I'm out, but I'm always fighting to survive, so I'm
Right,
not recklessly with my money.
Right.
And then they
I'm
probably
not
get
taking this for granted.
Then they probably get a coaching gig, or they do like training sessions, so that they're making money.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm just saying that there are probably not a lot of people who are knowledgeable about the economic value that they bring to whatever industry that they're in, and that expands beyond the NBA. But I specifically, because we're talking about the WNBA, I was comparing it to the NBA because I see that in the NBA. I can imagine that there's at least a few. I don't want to say the majority. I want to say a lot. Just a few WNBA players who misunderstand the value that they bring or what they're owed by the market or by the industry that they're in. And so I could see them and they just look over there and they're just like, well, shit, yeah, you're a man, so you're performing better than I am at these things because of, things outside of you or my control, but we're doing the same shit. I'm dribbling the ball, you dribbling the ball. I throw the ball, pass the ball, you throw the ball and pass the ball. And they're probably just like, you know what the fuck? Why you get paid so much more? I can see the envy. Because people get envious, like working in the same place, and they see like, oh, that person got the raise, or that person got a promotion.
I think it's all the mentality.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can see the mentality of somebody who looks over there and be like, you make so much more money than me, and I'm doing the same shit as you, or a similar thing. Fuck you. And I could see the envy from there. I could see that the logic or the rationale.
But
it's not logical. I can see.
I was gonna say it's stupidity.
Yeah.
Like there's not. You probably can't find many lacrosse players that are like jealous of what NFL players make.
Right.
Or the jealousy would just be the value itself.
Yeah.
They're not gonna then translate it into like, well, we should be getting paid more. It's like, no, you get paid $15,000 a year because no one watches you.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
that's their salary. Some of them.
Yeah,
they're getting paid $15,000.
Shit, really?
Yeah, professional.
Oh man. I mean, honestly, I didn't even know lacrosse was a sport till I got to high school. I was like, oh,
it really isn't until high school.
Yeah,
you're not gonna have a middle school lacrosse team.
Yeah, that's true. But I had no idea what that thing was. And like, honestly, I don't even understand the rules. But with that being said,
it's similar to hockey.
Yeah,
or soccer.
And that's a good comparison. Like hockey is
It's hockey, but with cleats instead of skates.
Like the hockey players don't make a lot of money, at least because they don't get. It's not as popular as basketball or football. Yeah, professional.
I mean, they make good money.
Yeah, but it's not like
they're not making that money.
Yeah, it's not compared. So I can see like they'll be like, oh man, but I think there's an understanding like, oh, well, we don't have the viewership. We're not getting that kind of attention.
Hockey's a much more tougher sport, so people are more grounded.
Yeah, a much more niche sport, a lot more skill.
Just like football. Like once you get to the professional level, everybody understands this is. Yeah. This can all go away in an instant.
Yeah. One moment, man. But it's So I'm just saying I could understand the envy that somebody might have and just being frustrated in that moment, and just crying about the situation as opposed to actually doing anything or looking into it. And shit, I can't even talk about that.
But it's fun to complain.
Okay,
fuck, no, just drop it. Go on to something different.
I'm triggered. Like, I mean, I'll say it like this. When people, it's good to vent to feel better. Like, there's things that happen in life that you're not gonna like, and if you vent about it, it's therapeutic. But if that's the only thing you do, and it's something super serious, and you're just walking around, you're gossiping to other people, and you're venting about a situation, and you're airing out your grievances, nothing's being done on it, and your point isn't even valid, but you feel like you're doing something. So then, every time it happens, you just do it again. Every time you feel bad, you do it again. The feeling comes up again, you do it again. And then you're a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more boisterous, or a little bit more vocal. And all to the point where like you're just screaming about nonsense that's nonsensical, and you're not willing to do anything about it. Like your actions aren't really matching your your grievances. And if you really want to do something about it, it's like you have to look at the situation, you have to understand the problem, and you have to address the problem that's there, or try to figure out a solution from what exists. And if you don't do that, then you're gonna fizzle out and die. Like there was like from an evolutionary standpoint, if you if you're presented with a problem, you have to create a solution to the problem in order to overcome whatever obstacles in your way, and then you'll be able to prosper from there. If you live in an environment where there is no problem, then there's not as much of an incentive to revolutionize anything or to fix a problem that doesn't exist, so you'll probably just be lax. But if you're just sitting there and you have a problem and you're just like, oh man, I'm hungry. Oh man, I'm hungry. Fuck this, I'm hungry. No matter how loud you scream, eventually you're gonna die from hunger. So it's like these people who are complaining about the not getting paid enough because of the environment, the situation that they're in, whatever, envy, or maybe they just think they're legitimately owed something from the industry that they're in. It's like, well, if you're not willing to do anything else about it besides complain, then you're not doing anything productive, but you think you are. Right. And that's frustrating. I'm just like, you're wasting your fucking time, and you don't know it. It's like, don't waste my time, in addition. What else? Is there anything else that's going on?
Anything on your list?
Nah, I'm out. I was going to do the emancipation thing, but I will do that after you watch it.
Okay.
Actually, like I'll watch Black Panther also, so then we could talk about movies next time.
Oh, you haven't watched Black Panther?
No, not yet. Yeah, I watched Emancipation, not Black Panther. That shit there.
You're not gonna like the direction it's going.
Oh boy, I don't know, man. I'm pretty primed to have some grievances.
It just seems so.
I'm already like I see the when we were talking about Marvel before, I'm like, but it's possible.
See, I warned you about this.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I could see it, but I was like,
you're like,
but maybe I'm optimistic. I see this now. I see it going down. So I'm probably disappointed, but I'm not gonna be surprised.
The biggest problem that I have with the Black Panther shit is like, we're like completely glossing over the fact that there was an unbelievable advanced nation in Africa that could have saved Africans from so many diseases and like starvation. And they're just gonna, Wakanda probably, if it was an actual real place, would have no racial allegiance or ethnic allegiance to Africans at all. They'd be very egotistical.
Yeah, especially
you're going to be an advanced nation for thousands of years and not have and not be like, please.
Yeah, in a significant way. So it's like, oh wow, like
you're gonna be like, we're better than everybody.
Yeah,
and we're not going to concern ourselves with these petty problems of you people.
Yeah.
So that's why it gets annoying when like they go down that route of like the colonialization. It's like they wouldn't even care.
Well, it'll be incredibly. It's more than whatchamacallit? What's the word I'm looking for? Hypocritical, because it's like, to be like, oh, Africans owned Africans. It's like, yeah, but slavery was different in Africa than it was in the States. In the States, but like that they didn't have that understanding. But okay. But that being said, it's like, some people blame some of the African nations for like, oh, well, you didn't stop this from happening. It's like, well, they didn't know that it was an issue, and for them, it was a net gain. They got the cool shit that they wanted. They just traded this for that. It was like no different. It was over in the States where it was imbued with all this extra added negativity. Distinction between the slaves and the non-slaves. But it's incredibly different if you are an advanced civilization with technology able to combat against the thing that's happening, because the Europeans were largely successful due to technology.
About the isolation.
Yeah.
They wouldn't care.
Well, the thing is, because they've isolated themselves from that situation, because the whole thing, the reason why Europeans were so successful at colonizing Africa and doing the slave trade is because of the advancements in technology. The fact that we live in the world, the Marvel universe, where Wakanda is this advanced civilization that decided not to interfere with that specific thing, but then to have this vitriol against the colonizers is super hypocritical, because you had the power to stop all of this, but you chose not to. But then, which is fine if you were doing so for protection purposes, and fine if you're trying to reach out a little bit now, but it's ridiculous for you to have any kind of negative stigma against people, the colonizers, because at this point, like, you're more responsible for what's happening.
Well, no, they just wouldn't care.
Yeah. Like, at least
that's my point.
They didn't care.
Is that, like,
so it's like it's crazy for them to
the Chinese,
all of a sudden care for something
like
that they
Chinese
know.
people have issues with the Japanese because of the occupation of China during World War II and just whatever other historical issues that they have, right? But the Chinese wouldn't have problems with the Japanese for what they did in the Philippines because the Chinese aren't Filipino. They don't give a fuck.
Actually, I think,
get what I'm saying? Like,
I see what you're saying, but
or like, for instance, the Japanese don't have issues with the English the way the Chinese do.
Right.
Or just India being in Asia, and Britain's control over India.
Yeah.
Like, South Korea doesn't have this, like, stigmatized hatred of white Europeans.
Yeah.
Because they're like, why? You haven't done anything to, like, really affect us, so there's just no reason for us to care.
And Japan's trying to invade China twice. Like, those once when back in the time, like, what's his name? Yeah, unnecessary history. Right after Japan was unified, had a bunch of battle-hardened warriors, wanted to send them to do something, send them to invade Korea all up into China, wildly unsuccessful. And then there was a whole World War II aspect. So China's like, oh, these guys, these fucking people. And I didn't really understand the hate till I started looking into it. After watching some, I think it was an old Jackie Chan movie, or a movie where Jackie Chan was in it. And there's all this hate between, oh, you China, da, da, da. And like the Chinese and Japanese people are arguing against each other. And there was like a big fight about it for a while. And I was like, they hate each other? Well, why? Kung Fu movies isn't it all the same? I didn't know anything back then. But then I looked into it. I was like, fuck, okay, I get it. But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying about the whole, dynamically different relationship with this group versus that group. But yeah, I mean, I'm talking things
you
about
could use
along the same
Egypt or
line.
Jordan as an example.
Yeah.
Like, Egypt doesn't give a fuck about what's going on in the Congo, but yet they're still Africa.
Yeah, and so it would have been interesting if they took the approach of, well, because of that we have hate for what happened, and
it's just American views being pushed on Africans.
Yeah,
that's what I don't understand, because they're two different people.
Very different.
But Africans don't even like Black Americans.
And because it started from someone else shot the African Americans shot the first shot. So
you know what I mean? Like, African immigrants will come here and be like, "Oh, like all these Black Americans are lazy and fuck them." And
well, I mean, and that whole thing happened because Africans came over to America and like, okay, better up. You go to Europe or you go to America if you wanted more economic opportunity and a better education,
upward mobility.
Yeah. So then they come over here in the height of the civil rights movement. And they're hearing about all the shit that's happening. They're like, holy shit! Wow, let me go. See my brothers across the pond. Da da da. I have no idea what the relationship between Africans and African Americans were before that point, to be fair. But at that point, then African Americans were looking down on Africans. Africans would either get their degree and bounce, or they would get their degree and stay, and economic either become indoctrinated into the African American culture, or they're still identified as African. They're sending money back, but they're also sending back these stories and these experiences, and they're just like, yo, these cats are crazy. Like, this is how they're treating me. And they're like, really? Like, why? I thought there was this whole Black camaraderie thing. It's like, not with us. We're different from them. They see us as different. And so Africans like, all right. So then the best of the brightest who are the ones that go to Europe and the States, they come over here and they got their, and now it's like more laborers and stuff like that. But now they have they're just like, I'm not fucking with y'all. Like, I have these stories from my grandparents and my parents and my great grandparents about like the way that you treated them. It's like, and the lack of unity that you have amongst yourselves, which is cool because in the first Black Panther, that's kind of what they were alluding to. Or it's just like you had
Well, yeah, I mean, you still have like the colonizer comments.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
You're pushing
no, but
a
I'm
Black
saying,
American way of
looking
like
at
dissing and then ingrading it, or that's not even a word.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. But like,
yeah, that's the word.
Yeah. But it's like when you saw what's his face's father who was killed. He was over there. He came over there. He became radicalized because he was living in the States. He's seeing these things happen. He's like, no, that's fucked up. You know, we got the power to change this. And then
that would make more sense.
Yeah, so that fight, I would have liked to see more of that. Like, instead of that one individual and Killmonger, I would have liked to see that, and that starts this cultural movement about like people.
Honestly, would have been better to not even have killed him.
Yeah.
To just kept him alive and said, "You're never come back to this fucking country."
Yeah.
And then he just raises his son to like. Take the throne. I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah, it would have, but then at the same time,
instead you get him to be radicalized and then have this undying hatred.
I don't think he purposely wanted to
even
though
he becomes a special ops guy who has to essentially live and form camaraderies with white men.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine? They would have executed him.
Again, that doesn't line up. Like, okay, if you have that,
you can't be
you can't have that perspective and do this successfully.
You can't be an angry black guy and just be a Green Beret.
For the CIA. And what?
This isn't
gotta kill Whitey. It's like,
this isn't a movie or TV. They're like, no, you need to be mentally balanced, in control of your emotions, like, as much as possible. Because you see these guys, they're unassuming.
Yeah.
It's like a 5'8" Asian guy with like a weird mustache, and he's just like chilling, like holding a Budweiser.
Yeah. They're like, oh, that guy's.
He's like barely in good shape, but like you find out he can like ruck 50 miles a day.
Yeah. Man, that's like it would have been cool to see more of a dynamic between like a generation or a group of people within Wakanda who look at the outside, want to be interventionalists, and those who don't want to be interventionalists.
They just want some easy routes. Like,
they did, and because like if
and the next one you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. But like I was hoping that they would, because I love, that's what I loved about the first one is that kind of mentality. I thought it was like, oh cool, this is starting a whole new conversation about a big what if kind of scenario. And it's like, okay, what would they do in this scenario? Should we stay isolated or should we be involved? Oh, this whole thing, and this marriage between the two different sides. So I was excited about where it was gonna go. Maybe they'll start bleeding out in different ways. Like politically, it's like they have this group that's like, we need to be more interventionist. Yeah, because those colonizers did this because our grandparents didn't do shit about this situation. And then the other ones were like, no, we had to do this because we can't trust them, and we can't even trust the people who look like us. Or you would have the people who don't trust the people who don't look like them, and people who don't trust anybody, even people who look like them. So it's like you would have this whole mix of like political activism or political movement that's underwriting, and then on top of all that, unfortunately Chadwick passed away, but they could have used that as, he died overseas, mysterious causes, we don't know what happened, and then that will just make everything else explode, and then you see this civil war erupt in this advanced African civilization, or at least a big political debate around these issues. Like, you don't need a big bad guy from under the sea fucking to make a movie, a good movie. So
well, that's not really the thing.
Fuck, man. I stepped my expectations too. I looked at the first movie and took all the positives out of that because of the way that they were able to build this big scenario. Mm-hmm. And I gave them too much credit in their storytelling ability, and I was looking at all these positives. And I'm like, this has the potential to be so much grander. So I've heard little teasers here and there, and I have the feeling, and I've already seen the downward trajectory after watching Love and Thunder. And I was still like, I'm up here. I watched the trailer. I was like,
terrible.
I don't think. Yeah, I was like, that doesn't look so good. And I went to watch it, gave it a chance, and I was like, fuck, man, it was just.
That was all
God
over the place and had no direction.
God damn it! So I was like, I'm not optimistic whatsoever when it comes to that. But so yeah, I'll definitely watch that movie. We'll definitely review it along with Emancipation, and yeah, go from there. Whatever the fuck else happens between now and then. Yeah, that's about it.
I need to watch something uplifting.
Yeah.
Instead of something that pisses me off.
I'm trying to
definitely sound like we're 60 years old.
We're sitting over here doing the complaining part of the venting and complaining. And not make a movie. Let's do something productive. Take a chance. Take a chance on us guys. Come on, Hollywood. Ebony and Ivory.
We would have to write a script first.
Yeah. That would help.
Take a chance on us without any actual.
Come on, man. Just 9 subscribers and counting. But yeah, that would be shit, man. Like, I mean, pretty much what we just laid out about Black Panther. Like that, the political undertones of like all the one people fucking colonizers, other ones like pork's used for Africans, and then others are just like, we need to love all people, or some people are like, no, all people who look like us, or like some people are like, no, just Africans, and then some people are like, what about those Arab guys over there, and some people are like, Morocco is really nice, and then like it could be, and then have it just fucking splinter, and then who knows? Interesting. It could just be interesting. I'm depressed. Fuck. What positive things happen? Anything nice? Anything nice?
I don't know.
God damn it.
The last season of Walking Dead came out.
I'm still like 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons behind. I don't know where I'm at. That was like right after they got to Alexandria. I don't.
Oh, you're like 4.
Okay, that's not bad. But I stopped watching it because
you might be only 4 or 3 off.
I love The Walking Dead because I'm not a big zombie person or horror flick guy, but that series is more about people. It's just like zombies is just the setting, which is amazing. That's how you write splinter groups. There you go. Take that, Disney. But I guess it'll be too complicated, and they wouldn't be able to hack it. They couldn't do complication. I was wondering why the whole Thanos thing was so successful, so well put together. But it was like existing storylines that existed. They were just like using something that was popular.
Following it.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's not as impressive as I gave them credit for. And now everything else makes sense.
Now that they're doing their own original
ideas,
it's all falling apart.
Yeah.
Well, because some of their original ideas they're taking from more modern comics.
Yeah, and they're just taking like what's popular.
Which are it's not even popular. It's like the least read comics in the existence of the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm scared.
Like, I didn't even watch She-Hulk.
I haven't either. I'm just not interested. I want a strong female character. I don't want to throw away terrible story, not interesting character.
It looks like it's Sex and the City meets like a comic book thing.
Yeah.
It's probably not that, but it just... The trailers weren't... It felt like it was for women, so I was like, I'm probably not going to like it, so I'm not going to watch it.
I think it... Marvel needs to start
like Black Widow. I watched Black Widow.
Yeah, I did too. But
that looked good.
I watched it because I was interested. And I was like, what is the backstory?
You didn't like
these characters? I didn't like it. I did not. I didn't. No.
I thought it was good for what it was.
it was like she was supposed to be this top-notch spy. They were teasing it out. Like she was embedded like halfway through Iron Man 2. You're like, oh shit, she's what? And then it's like she's been portrayed so good before, and this one was just kind of like more of an action flick and less. It was less. I was expecting more of a spy flick, or like you see like her use like these clandestine moves and like the backstory or how she was trained, what actually happened in the Red Room. What was the red in her ledger that she's talking about, what the backstory between her and Hawkeye. But it was just kind of like, okay, this is a little bit about her past that you didn't know about before. Okay, and now this is like a little bit about what happened right before, this whole thing happened in Endgame and she's dead. And yeah, that's her sister and that's her dad, so to speak, and her mom, so to speak. And this is something, and okay, they break into this compound and save all the widows. I was like, oh. I wasn't... No, I didn't like it. It was alright. I mean,
maybe you were judging it too hard.
Yeah, maybe I was, man. I liked her as a character.
I didn't have any expectation of that movie whatsoever, so I enjoyed it.
Maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's I came in with a serious. I'm in like Casino Royale or Bourne series kind of mentality. Like, oh shit, to see that and to wrap that in the setting of the Marvel. Yeah, no, but I was still expecting.
You can't have a Marvel movie be in depth.
Well, I wasn't, I guess that's where I went wrong. I was expecting it to be in depth because when I saw the whole build up, because I thought like Civil War was in depth and very complex, and they had all these moving parts from beginning to end.
You're fair to say that.
And I was super impressed. Ever since that movie came out, I was just been like, oh, I've been what's his face in the pool like over Marvel. I'm like, oh my god. I was just like, yo, holy shit. I was just giving them all these accolades and. That's my fault. I shouldn't have expected that much out of him. But
did you watch the? Was it the Immortals?
Yeah, that's another crushing disappointment. That was the first time that I think I watched because I watched Black Widow. And I was like, I didn't really like it, but I was like, it was flashy. It was cool. It got a little bit of backstory. Her sister's hot and capable, and like there's other Black Widows out there, even though she's dead. It's like, okay, so at least it's like there was something to salvage out of that.
I can't remember anything of the Immortals, and then I didn't watch the last 20 to 30 minutes. I gave up.
Oh, don't! You saved yourself. Like at least from Black Widow, the movie, like there was something to salvage out of it. With the Immortals, it's real. That was a terrible movie. That was a absolute...
You were going to say that was a handful.
Yeah, I was going to be nice, but no, that was a terrible movie. They had some very interesting characters. They had some very interesting concepts. They had some cool backstory that I could see how it could build into something else. But execution, writing, even the backstory, even the cultural references to some of these big name people. Like, one of the people is apparently Gilgamesh, and like, there's so much lore around him in Sumerian texts and, like, all the stories that he has, and all these characters are supposed to be that big.
Was he in that?
Yeah. But it was absolute garbage. It was dog shit. Compared to the stories that existed about some of these people that they're alluding to, and the things that they could have brought into it, it was dog shit. That was the first time I cried at a Marvel movie. I didn't cry, but I was disappointed. And I almost watched that in theaters. I was pushed and watched that in theaters. Come on, we gotta. But I'm so happy I didn't.
You'd have been pissed. That would have been a lot of money flushed out.
Oh my god. Yo, man, I just watched.
I want a refund.
Yeah, and nowadays things are so expensive. I went to watch a damn Way of Water at matinee. I was like, oh, I don't need anything fancy. I watched the 2D version. I watched it at noontime. Get a nice matinee price, $12.50. I was like, what the fuck are you mean $12.50 for one person? I was like, nah, fuck this. I still watched it, but fuck, I'm never gonna go to the movies again. That's insane.
Have you seen The Menu?
No.
You should watch The Menu. And then we can have some pleasant conversations.
Alright.
Instead of old man yelling at the sky.
Alright, I'm gonna write that down.
That's on HBO.
Oh,
if you've got it.
No, but I gotta.
I get you.
Yeah. HBO other menu.
It was in theaters. It's an independent film starring. I always forget his. I always have difficulty with his last name, but Ralph Fiennes. Voldemort.
Oh wow! Okay, interesting.
Or Red Dragon.
I don't wanna. I was about to look up information on it. You know what? No, I'm just gonna watch it.
Oh yeah. You don't want to look anything up. You just want to watch it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Yeah, quick backstory. Basically, he's one of those like famous, renowned chefs where you have to pay $1,500 or something like that. But he's on this like very small island, like 300 feet island. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Or I don't know how big. You know what I mean? It's more of like a landmass than it is like an actual island. But it's technically an island.
Okay. Interesting.
So they could go on, so the group of people go on a boat and they go to see it, and then it goes from there.
Yeah, I saw this this clip of this guy who's on a food truck, and he was like he was shopping, he was just making some food. He was just the guy walks up, he has like no sign, no postage on his trailer, and the guy's like he's like, yeah. The guy comes up, he's like, yeah, this is a super famous place. He's like, can I get a plate? And he's like, yeah, I'll give you a plate. And he's just like, oh, is there a menu? And then he's just like, no, there's no menu. I cook. I was like, there's food. And then you'll, I'll put it in a box for you and you'll eat it. And like the guy, like I don't know, like a Mediterranean accent, like he's from the Middle East, and he's just like he's like chopping some stuff up, putting it together, like combining the stuff, and he's like talking the whole time, and he's just like, oh no, I don't make food. He's just like the grill makes food. He's like, I just put it together. And he just it's just like this accent, but it's like and he puts so much shit in there. It's like $10, and like it looks delicious, and like holy shit. And his whole thing is like, oh, you can't. Like, I'll give you a plate for how many people are there, but he's like, I'm not gonna do a big order. It's like, so, and like, and I'm not gonna tell you what's on the menu, and it differs from day to day. I was like, oh, that's real cool. Just like, I'm here, I'm just gonna cook some shit up, and you're gonna eat it. Like, you're gonna pay me money, and that's it.
What if you're allergic?
I don't think he gives a fuck. He's one of those old school Middle Eastern guys. Like, I'm gonna cook some shit for you. Like, whatever. You probably kill over and die right there on the street. Like, oh shit, what do you want? On a plate, all right. It's like, I don't know how to react, but yeah, that seems like an extremely dangerous practice. But I don't know. That's something positive. There we go. Happiness in the world. Oh man. Oh shit, yeah. Nice. That's cool. You don't have to make it super long all the time.
I guess it's a good starting point considering we had a little
6-month hiatus. Yeah. Long vacation. All right, everybody, and tune in next time. Like and subscribe, please. Super please. You're a 10th subscriber. Peace. Now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, WNBA, and Marvel Cinematic Universe critiques aside, I'll get it back to Keenan Anderson. So I'm going to show the rest of, or a compilation of the rest of the body cam footage that the public has access to. And I'm doing this in the hopes of trying to showcase a more complete picture of probably the clips that you've probably been inundated with via the news to slant things one way or the other. I mean, our intention here isn't to be biased. But of course, as all people are, we are, of course, also biased. And if you've gotten this far in the video, probably have a little bit of an idea of where we stand. But the purpose isn't to showcase where we stand and to think that this is 100% accurate, but this is what we believe to be true. And we're welcome to disagree, but we want this to be more of a conversation center as opposed to an indoctrination center. So love each other. And regardless of where we stand, we wish to extend our deepest condolences for the loss of Keenan Anderson. When someone's gone, it affects everybody. It affects everybody involved, it affects everybody around. And that's not something that's dependent on what side of the issue you fall on.
Keenan was a mentor. He was a teacher. He was a proud family member. We come from a very big family. Our grandmothers migrated from Louisiana to make a better life for themselves and their children and their children's children here in Los Angeles, California. We spent a lot of time coming together for family picnics and family gatherings. And Keenan was really proud of the movement of Black Lives Matter. And I believe the work that he did teaching young children at the 10th grade level at the school he was working at, the Digital Pioneers Academy, was part of his contribution to helping change and bring love and care to young Black kids.
Now, get down over there! Turn over on your stomach right now! Turn over on your stomach right now! Turn over!
Yes.
Turn over!
Yes, sir.
Over on your stomach! Get over on your stomach!
Hold on. Okay, please. Please, sir. Please don't do this. Please don't do this, sir. Please. Help me, please. You know what? Help me, please. No, please help me. Help me, please. Please.
Keenan, relax! Keenan, relax!
Help! They're trying to kill me! Hey, stop me! Hey, stop! I'm gonna tase you! Stop! I'm gonna tase you! Relo's trying to kill me! No. Stop on YouTube! Stop it! I'm gonna tase you! Yes, sir! Stop it! I'm gonna tase you! Hey, please help me! Help! Stop it! I'm gonna tase you! Stop it! I'm gonna tase you! I'm gonna tase you! Stop it right now! Stop it right now! Turn over! Turn over! I'm gonna tase you! Turn over! I'm gonna tase you! Turn over! I'm gonna tase you! Watch your elbow. You're trying to charge for me. You're trying to charge. Stop it. Stop it, or I'm gonna tase you. Okay, stop it, or I'm gonna tase you. Stop it, or I'm gonna tase you. Stop resisting. Please stop resisting. Please. I'm gonna tase him. I'm gonna tase him. You're trying to kill me. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Yes, sir. Don't resist. No. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Okay. Stop it. Help. Stop it. Do not move. If not, I'm going to tase you again. Okay, I got one. Help me. Okay. Here, hold on. Stop it. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Alright, I'll put that. Got 45. Reload, get it. You think I killed Bale? Help, relax. No, this is an act. They're not supposed Stop it. Help me. No. You'll be trying to kill you. Oh, Kilo. Listen up. Good? You want to walk? Just come here walk? No, he is. Oh, no. Huh? You good? Off and on. All right. I got him on the ground over there, just sitting on his own, and then he took off through the traffic, right? They think I killed Kilo. Help me! Please! Black man. They're trying to sedate me. I know too much.
We'll assess him and start taking information, but we're not transport. We gotta wait for